Hello again, this is Marxist, and after a little bit of a hiatus due to my keyboard absolutely destroying itself and my PC to boot, I'm back and we're going to finish up this video series on Gravel Pit by talking about attacking Gravel Pit C. So we'll get into the meat and potatoes about pushing C. Essentially, you have three options that you're going to go over, or that I'm going to go over here. And they're all going to be relating to different timing situations. So in the first case, we're going to presume that you don't have very much time to cap C. So you're now on blue after they had their run at blue, and you took too long capping A and B. In that case, you're going to do what I like to call rushing C. And I'll go over that in its own little segment, and we'll talk about that first. Then we're going to talk about the second option, which is what I sort of call the standard rotation. And that's going to be where you cap B, you go ahead and attack from B, try to do what you can, and then switch over to A for all subsequent attacks. That's what most teams do, and that'll give you a pretty good chance at capping the point within the next 3 to 4 minutes. And then, if you don't want to do that, which I'll go over why you wouldn't in its own section. If you don't want to do that, then you have other options. And I'll just go over that as its sort of own third miscellaneous category. And then we'll finish up by talking about off-classing and how you could utilize those off-classes to cap the point. So now we're going to talk about rushing B, your first option, the first kind of push that you would use. You would want to rush B whenever time is short, less than 2 minutes to go. So this is if you're B second, or it took you a very long time to cap A and B, and now you're a little worried that you may want to hurry up and try to get C. You should try to go for this push whenever you have 2 to 3 players advantage, or 1 to 2 player and uber advantage. So this, you can use this anytime. This is one of the best options. The only thing you need to know about is that B is clear of people. You need to make sure before you start your push into C, while you're capping B, that B is devoid of people, so that when you leave your one scout to cap the point, or both your scouts, that someone doesn't come in and contest them while you're trying to take C. Because even if you're spawn camping them at C and you can't cap B, they're going to eventually wear you down, and you're going to end up not capping B in a very timely manner. So you need to make absolutely certain that B is secure, and then use your scouts to cap and push through. Now we're going to talk about the 2 doors that you can push out of. If you push out of one door, your soldiers in demo will push into the enemy. They're either going to be back around 4 door or back around the spawn area or close to 1 door. Your heavy classes, which are your soldiers and your demo, will pop uber if you've got it, or your medic will stay down there and you just try to harass them as much as possible. You bottle them up and keep them off the spire, because most people, as they're spawning, are going to come to deal with you, and they're not going to think to go to the spire. If they do, you need to intercept them or damage them. If you push out of 2 door, your medic and demo will play passively, and your soldiers will try and get aggressive as a scout goes to the spire to win the game. And essentially what you're doing there is that your medic is going to survive a lot longer, and so people can come to him if they need buffs, and your demo will be down on the ground, and he'll be able to spam people as they're trying to get up on the spire to stop your scout or scouts if you've already capped B from capping. And the demo spam will hurt them quite a bit as your pocket and roamer deal with everybody else that's kind of running around on the ground. Now with that out of the way, we're going to talk about the standard crits rotation. This is what you'll see a lot of teams do, especially if you've got a bunch of time to kill. You capped A and B really quickly, and if your demo and medic are relatively adept at using crits. And here's how you do it. You've already capped B, your team's on B, you're just sitting around not doing anything. They know you're going to be on B, etc., etc. And this is the standard style. So you'll push with your Uber through one door, attempt to frag their medic or make him or her pop. Your medic will go to the spire immediately, and you'll throw as much as you can of your team onto the spire after their Uber is dealt with. Once their medic pops or dies, though, your medic needs to die as quickly as possible after that's happened, unless you've bought in some huge pick advantage and it's clear that you might be able to cap the spire. Then you can play around with it a little bit more. Otherwise, if it looks like it's going the way it usually does, where you've just popped Ubers and people are dying left and right and you don't have a clear advantage, then your medic just needs to die very quickly, and that will allow you to go crits, and you'll crits from A for the rest of the game. Now, what will you do while you're critsing from A? So what you're going to have happen, I'll go over this class by class as well. I'm not going to use a video to show, because some of the stuff doesn't really show itself clearly in a video. But you'll send somebody, your roamer or a scout, through whichever door you're going to crits out of. So 4-door or 3-door. And they'll more or less, their entire job is to det the trap and push back whoever may be defending that door if they're close. Then, if they do manage to get through, they should just rush at the combo, the enemy combo, and try and push the medic somewhere where he or she can be more easily shot by your demo's crit sticky. But most likely they'll probably just die. Then you pop the crits on your demo. It's essential that you do this the very second that you get crits. And you aim to kill their medic or frag 3 or more people with the crits. In the meantime, your pocket sits behind the demo, and that way if any roamers or scouts come up to rush your demo, then you just pop crits on the pocket and he'll kill everybody. You just flash him with the crits. If they pop Uber, it's essential that your medic not die, so just pull back and wait unless you're going to get a bunch of kills with your crits. Now I'll talk about each class piece by piece. When you scout using the standard rotation style push with crits, your job is to cap the point. So essentially what you're going to do is you'll wait until the crits resolves itself and rush to the spire. Delay your entry just a little bit. The reason you want to do that is because you're not really going to be able to push yourself through a door if it's being guarded by a demo or a soldier. But in the meantime, as the crits is going down, all those types of classes are going to be very distracted by the crits, and that's when you can get in. So just wait a little bit, make sure that you're not going in prior to the crits. Then you're just going to rush the spire and use the spire itself to help you get kills. So use your speed and your double jump to change which level of the spire you're on and just run all around it and cap the point. As roamer, you'll need to bomb in early to distract and disorganize the enemy team, and also you'll get some good intel about where everything is when you jump in. Focus on the opposition's medic. Jump for spire if you're not dead after you've done that. So pretty much you're just going to go out a 3, 4, 5 door, leap at the medic, say whether you get him or not, because the crits is going to happen in pretty much immediately after you say, I've shot at the medic, or the medic is in such and so location, or a heavy or a sentry gun or any of that stuff that your team needs to know about. You're going to be the first set of eyes really to see everything, so just do your best. And if you manage to get the medic, or they run away from you somehow, then just jump to spire if you've got enough health to do that. As pocket, if you've got Uber in the early stages, just do as much damage as you can. This is like your initial push-in. If it's not invincible, shoot at it. Try and damage as many people as you can. You don't really have to try and finish kills. Just try and spread as much damage as you can. If once you start running crits, which is your second push-in, stand slightly behind the demo so that you can get flashed with crits if anything rushes on your demo, and then the crits will pretty much stay on you after that. unless everything's far away again. And then just jump the spire once you're done, as long as there's not a heavy on it or a pyro. When playing medic, you're going to push out of one door, and on your first push, make sure you finish up with your Uber as soon as you can, and then you're going to just rush to Spire and try to heal your scouts that may be on there, whoever's there, and die quickly because your intention is to go crits. You'll switch to crits immediately. After that, don't ever die again so that you can always maintain your crits advantage because they're probably going to run Uber, and that's pretty difficult for them to use crits against you. So you're going to have advantage the rest of the time. Make sure that a player stays behind after every crits push so that you can build you start building as soon as the crits is over. Also, if it happens that they pop Uber against your crits because you didn't build well, or maybe their medic died really, really early in your Uber push and you lived way too long, then just use your first crits to pop them and then pull everybody out and build your crits rather, as quickly as you can. Now, as demo, you're the most important part of this whole plan because it's on you to get their demo or kill 3 of their players. You want to aim your crits at either the medic to assure that your team maintains advantage, or B, a heavy, a pyro, whatever else. You want at least 3 so that your team can have a super huge chance at pushing and succeeding. Also, if you know that your team's plan is to send your scouts in aggressively, which can work, make sure that you don't die. You play a little passively so that you can at least be the guy that builds with the med. It's best to have this sorted out with your team ahead of time, who's going to stay back if the crits doesn't kill a bunch of people. But since you're going to have pretty much the most health, then it'll usually be you who gets stuck with it if other people die. Now we're going to talk about the third method of pushing. And whereas rushing B is to be used when you don't have much time, and the crits rotation pushing is used when you've got oodles of time, this will be used pretty much any other time, or if your demo isn't very good at the crits. Or if you've tried the crits 2 or 3 times and it's just not working out, then you're going to try what I like to call misc pushing, miscellaneous pushing. So in this, you're going to treat it like a standard last, and you're going to cap C by off-classing, by utilizing advantage, and by running suicides. Just for a few words on what you're going to do when you misc push, know the location of their medic ahead of time. Use a scout or your pocket can peek through. Never push into an area blindly. Same as any other last, and that really goes for the other methods too, but this one it's particularly important. Never ever push without an advantage. Treat it just like any other last. So since I mentioned off-classing, we're going to talk about the 5 standard off-classes, who and when to use them, and I'll also provide a little video for each one. As Pyro, you're just going to wait for your push to wrap up, and then run to Spire, blow everybody off of it, and win the game. So here I'm just going to show what the Pyro will typically do, in that you're just going to run out of 3 door, blow anybody away that you meet, and capture the Spire, thus winning the game. Here I just show what the heavy will do. You'll delay your coming in, then you come out and you just mow everybody down with your gun that you can find. If anything, you're going to want to fade to the right because you've got a little bit of cover here if need be. The medic may or may not be able to come with you, and you're just going to try and mow as many people down with the ultimate goal of making your way on top of the Spire, if possible, where it will be virtually impossible for them to get anybody on the Spire once you're there. Now, if you want to run an engineer, you need to build a sentry and a level 3 teleporter. Once the tele is level 3, you constantly suicide in one player. Usually it's both your soldiers. So what you do is your roamer bombs in, he dies. Then, as soon as he respawns, He'll say, I'm up, and your pocket immediately goes in suicides. Your roamer takes the level 3 teleporter, he's there in a flash, and there's no way for them to stop you from doing this over and over and over again. You'll eventually strip them of their Uber or 1 to 2 players. Once you do that, then you're ready to push as normal. Then the engineer player, him or herself, picks up their gun that they've built in the meantime, drops it somewhere out on the sea point, and attempts to cap the spire. As Engie, you're going to set your telly down at spawn as quickly as you can, run back in, and get 200 metal. Then most people put their telly exit down here. There are 2 100 metal packs for you, but this one will pretty much respawn by the time that you're ever going to need it again, and this will be where you set your exit up. It's nice and protected. You can try and be a little bit sneakier with it, but that's only if the other team really likes to push on you. Then you'll set about building a gun, and once your suicides accomplish their mission, then you're going to pick up the gun and drag it out onto sea. Usually what you'll do is come out a 3-door, plan it about in between the 2 little planks. Maybe you could get creative and put it somewhere else. And then you yourself as the NG will run to the spire and attempt to just put a body on the spire, cap, and win the game. As sniper, make sure that whether you come from B or A, that someone knows that they're going to guard you, because a smart team is going to throw a lot of things at you to keep you from being able to snipe, and you may end up getting the kill that you need in order to push simply by someone rushing the sniper and running into his guardian. If they decide to run a sniper to counter you or are already running a sniper, you need to stay at 185, so your medic's going to have to come with you. So that'll mean the pocket and the medic are with you. Also, have a plan to kill everyone you meet. You don't need to get the medic 100% of the time. Just 1 kill is good enough, especially if it's a heavy or a demo or the pocket. As sniper, I'm just going to show a couple view angles for you here. And remember, always wait to peek until you've got a fully charged shot. There's no sense in trying to go for quick scopes. Just body shot whoever you're looking for and move on with your life. That'll work in most cases. The main thing you're doing here is concealing your dots so that they don't know you're there until you've already shot somebody, and trying to find the medic in general once you do peek. If nobody's told you, somebody should tell you where he or she is already. But if you need to, try and find them and then body shot them, because you'll automatically kill them, and that's pretty much the game for them at that point. As spy, you're going to want to use cloak and dagger. I know other places like Europe don't allow that, but since they don't play GPIT anymore, we're not even going to talk about it. So once you get in, you can go from B or C, whichever happens to be easiest for you to get in with. You'll plant yourself in a location where you can see most of the stuff, but you're not going to get bumped into by some guy randomly. And you'll provide intel to your team, set yourself up to strike their medic demo or a heavy or an NG, and then have a player, such as the roamer, create a distraction, and while they're distracted by this guy jumping in, you strike and stab as many people as you can. Then as spy, just You can come in from B or A, whichever works best. Make sure that there's nobody right up in the door you're trying to get out of. Then just find some place where you're not going to get bumped to look at everything, tell your team where everything is, and then set yourself up to get a stab. Make sure that when you decloak to stab that you're not so close to whoever it is you're going to stab that they can hear you. Then wait for the distraction and stab them. And to finish up, here are some tips and tricks that you can use that I mainly just deal with as rules for pushing C. Never push without some kind of advantage unless the time is such that you just have to push. Then try and string together the best thing that you can and go with it. Be aware that they may try to block you with an Uber out of whatever door you try to push from in Uber v Uber situations. Keep the rest of your team back until you know whether they're going to do that to you or not. If you know that their combo is way far away from you, then don't worry about it. Bring a whole bunch of people through that door. Make sure that you check it for traps, obviously, but you can bring a lot of people through then. And also, scouts are king of the spire. So, as a scout, don't run around on the ground being a doofus. Cap the spire, win the game. Now, as part of the third set of pushing, we're going to talk about running suicides, which you may need to do in the crits pushing, anyways, but more often than not, the crits is going to be enough to get their Uber out. So, you can. Here are some situations when you would suicide. You need to suicide whenever you're trying to get an advantage to get their Uber out, or maybe get a couple kills because you respawn very quickly. I go over how you could use an engineer to help you do this. Or just like any other last where you suicide in a guy to have him come up spy sniper heavy pyro. Whatever you seem to do there. Otherwise, during usual suicides when you're trying to get their Uber out, send at least two people unless you've got an NG that's doing things that way with the teleporter and so on. Otherwise, you're going to send two people, maybe three if you're desperate. In the case that you push out with three people, make sure that your medic isn't at all close to whichever doorway you're pushing out of, so that in the that after your suicides go, that they don't push on you and kill your medic or make him or her pop uh, way before you're intending to push. So make sure if you suicide a bunch of people that your medic is in a safe position. If you suicide just a few, then you're probably going to be okay. And you're just trying to get the Uber out or kill a big class like a heavy or a demo, and or the pocket, whatever works, and switch to an off class immediately thereafter. At least one person should. And just keep trying to work it until you succeed. And there you have it. That's how most teams push C and how you could try to do it also. Just make sure that you've got a strategy together and that your team's all on the same page. And it'll probably work out for you as long as you don't do anything too wacky. So I hope you enjoyed. And the next topic we'll go over is process.